Morning, everybody. Welcome to the Crook County Work Session. Today is Wednesday, February 12th, 2025. It's 9 o'clock. Call session. First, public comment. Anybody have comments? How about online? Anybody online have comment? Hearing that, we'll move on to discussion. My name is Jackie.
They are saving rates for their rates from our facility. Landfill is framework. We're making sure the load stays in designated pH level and even when it's because you know just take second to introduce you especially to subproper Brian Bernie, Susan Herman, she's our commissioner. Also, guys have any questions?
Well, I just want to thank you guys for stepping up and doing this for us. I'm really very appreciative. I think we all work together and got a solution and we're going to work hard to be the better. Perfect. Thank you very much for coming today too.
Yeah, there are three people I got. Thank you. We didn't get stuck, did we?
No.
Nice to meet you guys. Thank you.
Very nice.
Hello.
Who's having the problem?
You know, Brianna and Alex both let me know. She says we're okay now.
The other day we had to increase that at OFRC.
It's an old owl, so we're kind of looking for something else now. Ooh.
I would not be able to solve it.
Well, it was the two gals online that let us know, otherwise we would not have known, so. All right, Brian, you can continue.
So number two, Rebecca.
Riza, Hacker is our new 4-H program coordinator and.
There's a seat next to Susie.
Yeah, come on up, Riza.
Put you in the hot seat, I guess.
Yeah.
We promise we're gonna be nice though.
Yeah.
That's okay.
So Riza sent in a one pager that she created and she wanted to give an update on the 4-H program and where we're at with things with the extension office.
Not too much. I just wanted to take a moment just to introduce myself. I've been in Crook County now for 17 years. I originally grew up in a very small town similar to Crook County, but Crook County definitely feels like home. Both of my kids went completely through school here in Crook County, went through the Crook County program for 4-H. I was a leader here in 4-H when I first started for about 12, 14 years before I finally let some of the clubs go. Prior to coming here in January, I've been in Deschutes County for the last 17 years. And I started in the front office, worked my way through the program assistant to the program coordinator. So I've seen all aspects of 4-H and how it has benefited our youth across the Tri-County area. And I am so thankful to be back in Crook County. It just feels like home. And I'm looking forward to working with our youth here. My main area of or where my heart is in 4-H is the traditional 4-H. Very specifically in the clothing, the sewing, arts, the static side of 4-H, but I also totally understand the animal side and the importance of that as well. I'm looking forward to this year, just getting to know the community, getting to know again what the youth are looking for, what the parents need, and listening before we make any changes, if changes need to be made to our program. I think the most important thing is to find out what our community needs and what our youth need in order for our growth in the program. The couple of things that I've noticed right off the bat, being there, our numbers are pretty accurate or pretty consistent to what it was last year, with the exception of our clover buds. Last year, you had over 50 clover buds in the Crook County program with 4 different leaders, and we have 0 leaders in that area right now, which means we are not able to accommodate that age group of 5 through 8. And that is a really important age group to me. They really need something to do, and they need to learn. They need to explore and find out what it is they're interested in and stuff. So that's one of my top priorities right now, is to try to find some leaders for that area. And if nothing else, at least offer some camps and stuff throughout the next year that they're able to come in and explore what 4-H is about. Moving forward, like I said, just kind of feeling out what we need. I really would like to see our youth be more participatory in the knowledge side that we offer for not only animals, but even the family and consumer science. I've had the opportunity for the last 7 years. We've taken kids in the family and consumer science side, which is your foods, clothing, fashion review, modeling, to a national contest, first in Denver, and then now it's in San Antonio. I've taken 2 groups from Crook County, way back when my daughter was in it. And just recently I took some kids from Deschutes County to that. And to see how those kids, one in particular, this last year, 2 years ago, she got to go, was her first time to even leave Tillamook County, let alone be on an airplane. She's homeschooled, she's never been out of the area, scared to death the whole time. She had the opportunity to go back this year, and to see the growth in that and the confidence and how she was leading everybody else around. And it's an opportunity she would have never gotten if not through 4-H. And I'd like to see our kids participating more in that. They have the knowledge, they have the ability. I'd like to get them out of the county more if we can convince them to participate in that. So that's just one of my personal goals. Other than that, are there questions?
No. Well, that's,
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for your presentation, and I'm with you. I think 4-H is tremendous for young adults and bringing them. So I applaud you. Anything we can do to help you, we're here for you.
Sounds good.
Because we think Crook County's pretty special.
I agree
So
with
we
you 100%.
definitely think the kids are pretty special. So anything that we can do to support you, just all it.
Well, is that they are very special.
Something that Riza has done since she's been there that's been really nice is had like all leader meetings and all where we've had a huge response where people have came in, and it wasn't just a couple. I think we counted over 50 people came, and we have another one this evening, and it was very interactive with discussions and asking, you know, what did you like about last year? What do you want to keep? What would you like to change? And she's had a very open door policy where people have came in and they have an opportunity to speak to her face to face. And if there's anything that they would like to address or bring up, she's been very approachable and for the public and the members, the volunteers and everything. So it's been very nice to have
I
her.
heard your leader meeting was very well participated. Rebecca told me before it had been a little bleak and that you had a lot, and that says a lot for you. So
Thank you.
congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope to continue to do that. That's what the leaders are, what make up our program. So we need to listen to them and support them any way that we can. Without them, we wouldn't have a program. So.
No, I hope you get the clover buds, because usually that's the little brother or sister that's hanging back, you know, and needs to, so I hope you get that done.
Yeah, I did a trial thing in Deschutes County, and it actually just happened 2 weeks ago, where I had a clover bud camp, so it was an all-day camp with 30 5 to 8-year-olds. And it was very well received. No one cut off their fingers when we did our kitchen exercise. No one stabbed themselves when we were doing our felting exercise. We had one meltdown, so I thought it was a success.
I think that's pretty good, yes.
So I hope to we'll do that camp probably here as well, once I get my feet a little bit further under me.
Well, thank you again for coming and welcome to you.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
I'm sorry to leave, but I have another
No,
meeting
you,
to go
you
to,
gotta, we
so.
understand, you got a big job.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Rebecca, you're still up on
I'm
A
again.
extension and B,
Again,
your
again?
budget
Okay.
presentation?
Yes, so, I guess ours, mine and Sean's a little bit different for the mid-year presentation, and so, I sent over a slide and then just had a little bit to speak on that, so, I did a little bit, I'm not sure, because this is my first time to present to you guys, but, I thought that I knew quite a bit about extension before I went over there, but, I guess that's not necessarily the case. In the beginning, I feel like I stayed to my comfort zone as far as knowing 4-H, and my children have cattle, and I understand, e-slips and red books and things like that. So that was very much my comfort zone, but I didn't know a lot about the agronomy and bugs, and that was not very much. I don't really like bugs, but there's a lot more to extension than that, and so it's pretty exciting when you have people from the community come in and they have questions, and you have lots of publications and webinars and things that you can assist them with. And so when you have people that come in and you build relationships with them, and there's so much more outreach and coalition work that is done, is pretty amazing. And I think that every day there's something more to learn, and that's pretty exciting. So for completed, as planned, as Riza said, for the 4-H program, they just finished enrollments, and in February 3rd, they enrolled 444 youth members, having over 110 volunteers, and some of those, or quite a few of those, are new, and so that was the numbers for 4-H this year. And so that's leaders and co-leaders with those volunteers. We have some junior volunteers also that are just right out of high school, right out of the program, that just came right back, that wanted to still help with the programs, which is pretty exciting. And then SNAP-Ed, they do so much coalition work. Shauna is amazing, and she gets so excited when she talks about all of the things that she's included in and has her fingers in and stuff. And she, one of those programs, the Green Bag program, is now 501c3. She said they just collected over 5 tons. So she had said in the 2024 year, they had collected 4 tons, which impacted 14 neighborhoods, and that was 133 households, and provided 8,334 meals for Crook County residents. And so they also set up with a hub at the Pioneer High School, which she was pretty excited about. And so that was a huge accomplishment for her. And so that was pretty neat. The livestock and pasture management program with Scott Dugan and Gordon Jones, they both do a little bit of both, but mostly with Scott. He taught a virtual fencing class and with a partnership, and had 173 participants, which blew him away. He did not realize that was such a need, and so they're planning on teaching that again. And he had said that that was in person and online. And then also he had a cabin class that he worked with the Oregon Cattle Women's Association, and had over 70 participants at that. And so that was a pretty awesome accomplishment that they just finished up also last month.
On the fencing, is that swords or fence?
It's, oh, that was humor, sorry, I was gonna answer that.
I was serious.
Yeah, okay. I'm like, I used to be gullible. But,
That's like building fence and.
yes,
Yeah.
so with all of the fires that happened this last year, there was a lot of, residents that lost fencing, and so, like, you think of, I relate it to like, dogs, you know, with those collars.
Yeah.
But they actually put collars on cattle
Okay.
and have, virtual fencing, for your cattle,
Wow.
instead of having, to rebuild all of the fencing, and so that's another avenue, and so it was a training that he put on, and so, I thought that was kind of odd. I mean, if you have 200 head of cattle, do you have to put 200 collars on there? And I didn't know if that was how that worked.
The answer is yes, you do.
Yeah, so-
Actually, Blue Mountain has done this for a couple of years up there.
And he
It's
said,
effective?
but it trains them too.
It's tough in some of the draws for the Wi-Fi. You know,
Oh.
they have to take a Wi-Fi repeater up there, and of course, you know, it's topography, so.
Yeah, who knows, there might be a little blank spot.
But one of the things about virtual fencing or their collars was when Crazy Creek blew up, they knew they had all their cattle out. Because they knew that they had so many that weren't,
Yeah,
that were gone, and they went out and they could locate them, and they could send cowboys and bring them in, and then they knew that all the cattle were out of the forest, which a normal operator would,
be impossible.
yeah, well, you count cows, you count
When you
three
can
different numbers. Yeah.
Virtually take down the fence, right?
Well, yes, the only thing about virtual fence that I find is a big issue is fences give you a sense of where you are at.
Hmm,
And when you're going into a different allotment, or you're going into private ground, or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's that certain sense that isn't there. But right now, the projected cost is 20,000 per mile to replace fence. So when you start looking at the fences that were burned, is this a solution? It's just, like I say, it's new
Option.
technology is what it is. But yeah, I know that they knew all their cattle were in, which I thought was kind of a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt.
no, you're good. I was like, I wasn't sure how I was supposed to answer your question.
It would be a good deal if it zapped them and they go back.
Well,
And
I
they get a zap and go, I have to go home today,
Yeah.
but I don't think that works
You
that way.
still gotta go up and get them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at least you know in the forest where to go.
Yeah.
That's a lot. But anyway, sorry,
No,
Rebecca,
you're good.
we have wandered off your
That's all right.
presentation.
We need some, fencing collars.
Get back in those.
Well,
Get back in
we
those.
maybe need to put one on you, is what we need to do. There you go.
Yeah. So for the master gardeners, they taught 4 classes, 194 attendance. This had just finished this last in 24. And so one of them that they had taught was the transplanting and growing vegetables, which was highly successful. And so they are continuing to teach that class and into 25. And they have quite a few that are planned. I'll do that for like the next, upcoming stuff. But in 24, they had the home and garden landscape tour in Powell Butte, and they toured 5 homes, and which was really neat to have that in Crook County this year. And that was attended very well, they had said. And so they were very excited about that. And then for us, right at the extension office, we did the crack seal, the parking lot, and repainted within this fiscal year. And so planning for beginning before June 30th, the SNAP Ed is planning on their annual community garden at the Presbyterian Church off of the Madras Highway. And they'll do that with the ODHS and the Central Oregon Council on Aging. I don't know a lot about that, but Shauna had said that that's a really neat program that she's really excited about. And Scott plans on working with Gordon for a 4-H seminar on February 25th. And then the Master Gardeners are they are doing their plant clinics in which will start in April and go through May, or start April, May, and that garden fair will be their first Saturday in June, they had said. The Master Gardeners program, I'll be honest, is something that I feel like I see Scott and Gordon and Shauna and Riza every day of the week, and you can ask questions, and I feel very, very informed. And this is something that I feel like in my goals for this next year, that I would like to become more efficient on knowing how a Master Gardeners affect and influence in Crook County. I know where the money goes, about what they actually influence here and how often they step foot in Crook County and what all they do as far as outreach and stuff. I would like to get more of an input on. I will have to say that that's my deficiency. And I know that the volunteers are amazing. So they're in their training right now. They started in January, and then they go through April, and they had said that they have 35 trainees right now, and 4 from Crook County. We've had 2 stop by already and get, a bunch of material, and they're very excited. And that's where I feel like the Master Gardeners are helpful for us, is those volunteers that they train in Crook County that come in and do the plant clinics. Those volunteers are super passionate, but the Master Gardeners that are paid aren't based here in Crook County. So that piece is like our, I hope for our future, we have a Master Gardener that's paid here, that is more of a set here. And so maybe that's down the road, but the volunteers that you have once a week are super passionate and are very excited, but they're volunteers too. So that's a little bit different, but for currently in process right now, when I sent our slides in to Sarah, I had said that we would be completing the process of the vehicle purchase. I did get word from Laura this morning that the check was cut, and so I contacted the dealership, so that is complete today.
Now, I want you to know, when I signed that check, I said the library has e-bikes, and I want you guys to, instead of me writing the check, could we maybe get a rental of an e-bike out there? So
For
there you
sure.
go. Okay.
Sounds good.
Told them I'd get
I
the
like
helmets for
that.
you. So anyway, that's just a little cost.
I like that idea. And so that was currently in process, but I could have moved that over today as completed as planned. But for the 4-H programming, they're gonna continue to work on pre-fair contests and supporting those leaders. As I had mentioned, they have another all leader meeting this evening, and last night they had a brand new leader training, and they're planning on ramping up for the benefit auction, and Camp Tumbleweed is coming up. And as I spoke on Master Gardener training, they're in the process right now. The open campus and Hutos program is highly successful here in Crook County. When I talked to David, when I put this stuff together, he said that they have 16 students in the program right now that he's working with, and they are working with them and the families also. And Jennifer Oil, she has 20 that is working with herself for the Success Program. And Juntos last year for 2024 had 100% graduation rate. So every kid that they were working with graduated. So that was a neat, I guess, to touch program. And so a SNAP Ed is working on the indoor gardening and for their summer program. And then the Better Bones and Balance program, I didn't even know what that was before I had started with the extension office, and I don't know if you guys know much about that program, but Sandy is actually a county employee like Carmen and I are, but she just works part-time and only runs the Better Bones and Balance program, which is participants are from like age 61 to like 88, and it's a comprehensive exercise program that she helps them working in conjunction with the Parks and Rec also. And it's to help them with like exercising to prevent with like osteoporosis and stuff. And so she had said that 95% of the participants, of this last year, they were age 64 to 84. She had said the median age was 74. And so the classes are on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 to 11. And she runs the program mid-September to June, and it's a 6-week program. And she said that 2024, 2025, over this fiscal cycle, she's had 50 attendants with at least 1 day a week participants, or with participants attending at least 1 day of the two. And so it's highly attended, so it's a neat program. And I didn't realize it was started in 2018, and so it's a neat deal that we offer. And so she's going to continue that program. And then planning for this next fiscal year, like Riza said, for 4-H, the goals for them are to ensure that we do bring back the clover buds, because that was something that we need to try to recruit for having leaders for those guys that are younger. And something that she didn't speak on is we've had some polls that went out, they might change the age of 4-H to be 8 instead of 9. And so that might help with getting more leaders also. If you have maybe an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old, you might be like a clover bud leader in addition or something. But she'd like to do that, and then helping those kids get to a national level is what her goals are for this next year. And then Shauna has big goals for something that's called a Stripes Club, and she wants to develop a program which encourages peers to interact and assist the needs of youth referees. And so she's going to work with Crook County High School and develop a referee program. And so it's something that she's very passionate about. And so she's going to develop that stuff for this next year. And so we're going to increase that outreach, workshops, clinics, and seminars at every level with those master gardeners, the 4-H, livestock pasture management and stuff, and activities. So and then the last two on there for those slides, I think challenges that impact core services right now are just limited staffing. And we talked about at our last staff meeting being OSU has an intern program that we were part of the application process, and we went through and tried to hire an intern, and then it fell through at the last minute. And so we're going to try to do that again this year. But Gordon would like to hire an intern to work in agronomy this summer with him, and possibly utilize with Scott with some livestock management and stuff. I was wondering, and I had talked to Will a little bit, and then Jeannie, when I had a budget meeting, we have the budget we would like to potentially add in maybe a part-time administrative support person and help out with that, maybe 25 hours a week, and do something where this person could be helping out with the frontline communications with the public and phones and things like that, where it would free up maybe Carmen, and then that person, once they were staffed, they could be a 4-H SNAP Ed and help out where Carmen can help go in the classroom, or help out in those additional programs and stuff. So that's kind of like where our goals are, or potential, down the road for maybe next year. So, I hope I wasn't too long-winded.
No, it's a really good presentation, thank
You
you.
did very good. I'm gonna add a couple things to the green bag. I went to food insecurity last week. Shauna is extremely passionate. And it is grown, and on the green bags, the fact that we added Pioneer High School has been a tremendous asset. And how much the children have embraced that, and the gal that came from the high school, I can't remember her name, said that she's even identified children that are at the regular high school that are hungry, and now they realize that there's a place for them to go get food, which I think is actually very, very wonderful.
Mhm.
And then this is kind of going off you a little bit, but I guess this is a place. So the University of Oregon, instead of doing a master's program where you're in class, they have what they call resource assistance for rural environments. And you develop a project and you actually are doing your master's program out in the field. So I saw the presentation, was very, very impressed about it. I'm having a meeting next week about it. It's all different kinds of projects. I actually sent it on to Steve Forrester and to Kim to say, hey, here's this thing, watch this video. And last night, Kim told me that she had a rare candidate last year who developed the recreational map for the Chamber of Commerce. And because I sent her that, she called yesterday and got funding, and she is going to get another rare
Yeah.
person up there. And so again, for any of you department heads, if there's a project you have in mind, they pay a little bit of a housing stipend. I'm not really quite sure about how the mechanism works. But again, they're trying for a master's program. So they would come in, you have a project, and they would go ahead and spearhead it. I haven't heard anything back from Steve, but I just kind of wanted to spread the word out in case there is a project like Sean, if you have a project at the museum. It's a student, they're getting their master's, but it's a kind of on the ground. So I think it's a wonderful program, and I'll know way more. And if any of you are interested, I can send you the video, and then it takes you right to a website afterwards and you can get more information. But it's kind of not really you, but kind of tied into that at SNAP Ed.
Yeah.
And again, like I say, the green bag program super impresses me how neighborhoods.
Yeah, do you guys understand what the green bag program is, everybody here?
Yeah.
For the feed young kids.
Well, and I didn't know
No.
what it was, so like if you,
No, you get a green bag and you're in a neighborhood.
well,
And
if
so,
anybody, like, so
yes,
if say, I just give Will a green bag and he fills it up and then he can bring it back to me, or we can pick it up, whoever it is, like there are
yeah,
coordinators.
like our neighborhood has a coordinator and she comes and gets it at 9 in the morning
Mhm.
on the third Saturday of every other month.
And you can just set it outside or whatever, and it's a designated day, or you can drop it off somewhere, or somebody will pick it up. But it's kind of like at a leisurely deal where it's like at your convenience, and I was confused, because I was like, what are
It's
they,
wonderful.
what is this green bag meeting? Because I was just, putting them in the meeting room, and I'm like, what is this? Green, I was thinking green bags, like you're thinking in your cans, like you're, yeah, drop it, yeah. In the beginning, when I first started there, and then when Shauna had said, would you guys like to, have green bags to help with this, and so I was like, will you explain to me what this is, the whole program is?
And it's food that is easily prepared. You know, you're not putting a cake mix in, you're putting in like a can of
Can of
stew
chili.
or
Yes.
something, so that they can basically, you can add hot water or something. But it's basically that they can take it and get a meal.
Mhm.
And it's all done volunteer. It takes anywhere between $60 to maybe $100, depending on what you put in the bag. And again, in my neighborhood, we set it out on the porch. There's volunteers that come collect it from our neighborhood. They go to a central place. They just got a grant. They're gonna buy more green bags and more shelving. And then it goes out to the various food banks. And again, we just added Pioneer High School, I wanna say 2 months ago. I could be
Mhm.
wrong. Shauna would know exactly, because the gal there came to us and said, there's a need. I have hungry children. And I just think that it's just wonderful. And it's all because Crook County is so generous. And there's such a generous spirit here in this county. And the fact that we've collected, I think last week it was 5 tons or
Yes,
whatever.
uh-huh.
It just amazes you how good Really, we are, or the people of Crook County are. So it's a wonderful program. Anyone wants to be a neighborhood chairperson, I can get you all the info. Like I say, you get a green bag, you fill it up, put it on the porch. It's a pretty simple thing to do with a good result. So thank you very much for that.
Absolutely.
Sean, thank you.
All right, my turn for the mid-year review for the Bowman Museum. So completed as planned. One of our big goals for this upcoming year was to get more people in the museum. This is through general visitation, through program attendance, and through students, connecting with the local schools and the students. So, granted, just to let you guys know, these numbers are a little skewed because we track attendance January through December, so they're a little off, but this is for all of 24. We hosted 27 programs over the course of the year, and we were averaging over 60 people per program, which was a significant increase. There was a couple programs that we ran out of chairs, which was nice to see. Visitors, we had 19,523. We reached over 603 students from 7 different Crook County schools. And then program attendance was just shy of 3,000 attendees. Our next big project that we were completed was phase 1 of the Ranchers Memorial building. This project is very large, so we broke it up into kind of 3 phases. The first phase was to clean the outside property and start restoring some of the artifacts, the large machineries. A lot of them were pretty much beat up due to the weather. And so Deanna Smith, our collections manager, and a group of very dedicated volunteers went through, pulled all the weeds, got rid of the wasp nests. And some of her volunteers have a background in historic restoration. So they've been going through and restoring old machineries, the old cattle chutes, the wagons. And then the fairgrounds has been really helpful by helping us move the big machinery onto concrete platforms. So they're in a better preservation state. So that was all complete. They worked tirelessly through the summer, through the heat, and they had a blast doing it. And it was nice because it allowed us to host a concert at Ranchers Memorial this past August. So that was a big highlight. Belknap Center hosting our exhibits with its grand opening last March. We were able to host four exhibits, including 2 traveling exhibits, which was really nice to get a variety. We had Crook County doctors, we had a local artist, and then we had 2 traveling exhibits from the Oregon Historical Society. And then just, this wasn't included, but something that popped up is increasing our volunteer corps. We went from 3 volunteers to we have 12 regular volunteers now, but we have some that are they're seasonal, depending on their profession. So that was a big one. What we're currently working on is our lobby exhibit upgrade. Our exhibits in the main lobby haven't been changed in years. So that, and in any museum, if you don't change your exhibits, people stop coming. So Deanna's been working, she worked a lot during January to get some of the exhibits upgraded, including we now have a beaver in the museum. It's a big stuffed beaver, which is kind of neat, just to bring a little bit of the animal life, our history of animals into the museum. And she's going to continuously working on upgrading them. It takes quite a while to upgrade just one display case, so it's kind of a work in progress, but her goal should be completed by June of this year. We're working on getting our Belknap exhibits planned for the next year. So far, we're going to have the history of the Crook County Fire and Rescue. That's going to open up in March, which we're really excited about. Since we have the very first fire engine at the museum, we thought that would be something to highlight. Summertime will be the rodeo, horse races and fair. So we'll have an exhibit on that. And then the last one, we're looking to find a traveling exhibit, somewhere that we can bring something in. We're reaching out to the World War II Museum in New Orleans, Smithsonian, try to bring something that, you know, you can't regularly see, bring something really big in. And lastly, what we're currently working on is the completion of the Belknap Garden, the Stahansik Crawford Garden. We had to put a pause on it because winter came, so. So that's gonna include a time period herb garden that's gonna be in front of the gazebo. And then that will also include, around the signage is our last planter bed that we have left. And it's, Mike Wendell did a really good job. It's actually an outline of all of Crook County. And it's got stars for Post, Paulina, Prineville, Powell Butte. So that's the last little bit we have to complete. That's gonna be completed, by April. Because May 10th is when we're having a garden dedication ceremony for the completion of the garden. Beginning before June 30th, we are working to redesign and upgrade our bookstore. We were moving some of the book racks around, and when we moved them all out, we realized our bookstore lobby is actually really large, but it needs a better redesign. So we've been looking at other museums of their local histories, societies to see how they design it. And we want to basically redesign it that makes it more browsable, but also allow us to increase more books, more merchandise. During the summertime, we do get a lot of tourists that stop in and they always like to bring something home. And so we want to change what we have to accommodate some of that kind of stuff. We still have a lot of old stuff from 50-year anniversaries that just don't sell, so we're trying to just kind of upgrade that. And then also that includes a better inventory system, because right now we're a museum, we like to do things old fashioned and we keep track of paper and pencil, but that's not the most efficient way, so we're gonna be upgrading that as well. Our website hasn't been updated in a very long time. And so we're working with our web designer to upgrade it, update all the old information on it, increase new features that highlight our new exhibits, and also increase publicity for the museum. And then also one of the things that we get asked a lot about is, do we have a calendar for all of our events going on? And we don't have a calendar, so we want to add that as well. This will also help the community because we can allow people to see when our community room is reserved, because gets booked a lot, almost every day of the week. So this way they can go to our website, see what's available, and then reach out to us. Also, we're trying to figure out, we're gonna find a way to also allow people to book the community room through our website as well. This way that opens up access to more of our community members to have access to it. And then lastly, what we're working on is just assisting the county with the preservation of the courthouse, as well. Planning for next fiscal year, we are looking around at the museum and planning for the aging and upgrading of technology. For a museum, everything's old in our building, but some things need to be upgraded. Particularly with the community room, our PA system and our projector, I think is almost 20-something years old now, so it's starting to go out. So we're planning on how to set some money aside to get that upgraded. We do have some grants that we're waiting to hear back from that will help us with that, but that's something that's on our radar, but also including new features to our website to make the museum more accessible, especially our digital collection. One of our volunteers has been photographing almost every object to be able to put it online, and she's a professional photographer, so they're really nice. She just finished all of our dresses and wardrobes, and so that's another one of those technology upgrades. This way people can access them. Phase 2 Ranchers Memorial will be starting next year. That's going to include the cleaning of the inside. Most of you've all been inside Ranchers. It's a lot of really neat stuff, but it's just kind of all in there. And so we are working to basically organize it, see what's in there, kind of weed out what we need and what we don't need. The juvenile department and the DA has been really helpful because they've been hanging our pictures in their buildings. So it's been kind of nice to get some of that stuff out. And then phase 3, which will start probably the year after that, will be actually creating like an actual exhibit in the first half of Ranchers. But we gotta clean it up first. We're working on increasing our community and student outreach. I think we did a really good job of getting out to the schools, getting out to different community events that it's been a while since the museum's been to, such as the fair. So we're working on increasing visiting the schools, particularly the schools that we don't get out to, Helena, Brothers, the homeschools. How do we reach out to them? So we're working with, some of their teachers and some community groups on ways that we can get out to them or figure out a way, because like we know Helena, that's a drive for them. So how do we figure that out? So we've been working with them. And then also I touched on is increasing our digital access. We are a research museum as well. We do get people who come and want to do research, but a lot of times they're from different states or from Washington, and we're like, well, you have to come here. We want to kind of try to change that so we can expand our reach to other researchers that are outside of our area. Some impacts that are going to be some challenging impacts is staffing. As we increase our programs and our outreach and our preservation efforts, 3 staff members is barely cutting by, so we're working to figure out how we can increase some more staff that can help us not only keep our front desks operating, but also have access to allow us to go to different events, get more involved with the community. And then just planning for the aging and infrastructure and technology of the museum. The museum is over 110 years old. Heaters are getting old. Just little things, walls are starting to get beat up, lights are starting to go out. So just kind of planning on how do we prepare to keep this preserved and keep it moving forward, but also making sure people can still come in comfortably. Some potential staff changes that we did. So thinking about staffing, we did move our full-time museum administration position to a 32-hour week position. And then that opened up some money in our budget to hire a 20-hour museum, they call it museum host position. This will allow someone to man the front desk, be that welcoming face, facilitate sales, give people kind of tours around the museum, while also allowing our museum administration assistant to focus on increasing book sales, increasing partnerships, working with Deanna to kind of help her with collections and stuff like that. So that's kind of a new strategy. We're gonna see how that goes and see, I think it should work. I think it will allow us to do a little bit more. It doesn't quite increase our staff too much, but I think it's a step in the right direction. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. Any questions I can answer?
No, great presentation.
No, great, yeah.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you for your enthusiasm also.
Oh, you're welcome. It's fun.
I think it's great that we're getting some old pictures put in the Justice Center. I think
Yes.
that's awesome.
DA and juvenile, they were looking to hang pictures and we're like, well, we already have a whole bunch framed already. Susie helped out with that, and we're like, we have a whole bunch just down at Ranchers framed and ready, and so they came down there and we're like, take whatever you want, cause it's nice, they're preserved in their building, we also know where they are, and there's some really, really neat pictures, so we're just happy to get them out, and this way everyone can see them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Christina.
Gosh, it's cold in this.
It got so cold back there.
I'm sorry. I
It's like
was gonna say this out loud. It's really cold in
It
here.
was fine when we started this morning, and then I feel the cold breeze.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, Christine.
No, it's fine. I'm glad I was like, man, I need to move or something. So good morning. Every year with the budget process, we review the fiscal policies. You should have a red line of the document. And here to go through it if we'd like to, answer any questions, high level, review the recommended changes, kind of however you'd like to go through it. Basically, we went through and clarified some information, particularly with the working capital requirements, net working capital requirements for each fund, including splitting out parole and probation from the sheriff's office requirements. The sheriff's office is property tax funded, whereas parole and probation is grant funded through the state. So we didn't feel that it was appropriate to have them lumped together. Additionally, there's some clarification on that, what that period to fund for networking capital is. And we've clarified the language to say that it's the average of budgeted personnel, budgeted materials and services, budgeted debt service, and 20% of budgeted capital outlay expenditures for the current fiscal year. Previously, that sentence had been a little ambiguous. Some other items were just a correction of wording. There was a word under revenue diversification that said diversity instead of diversified. We're making that correction. Let's see, under the pursuit of grant funding, we are removing under the second paragraph, the last sentence. It says the evaluation should be overseen and or performed by the finance director in collaboration with the receiving department. We have other language in the county code that governs grants and the review of grants and that application process. We wanted to make sure we only had it in one place. So that is the reason for removing that. Earlier in that paragraph, it does cite the Crook County Code section where the grant requirements are. You are clarification of the finance committee that is reviewing the county's fiscal policies annually. And recommending the changes to the county manager for his consideration, and then he will bring those changes to the board of commissioners. The recommendation for that would be the finance committee would consist of the county treasurer or a designee, the finance director or a designee, and one other member appointed by the county manager. And then further, under the management of fiscal policies, there were just a correction from county judge to board of commissioners chair. So we can go through them in depth. If you have any questions, happy to answer questions. If there's any suggestions, recommendations that aren't in there, happy to discuss those and get them added as you'd like to see them.
Yeah, no, I've gone through it, looked at it. I don't think we need to do it line by line.
Yeah, I think you did a good job, Christina.
Perfect. Then I believe it can go on the consent agenda for next week. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for seeing.
Gary, you're online.
Can you guys hear me? I can't turn on my video. It says host has stopped it.
We have video lockdown.
All right.
We had some issues previously.
We can hear you.
We got bombed.
Yeah, we'll talk to you about it later, Carrie. How's that?
I don't think I want to know.
Okay, probably you don't. Okay.
All right. So if y'all can hear me, all right. I put this item on the agenda. I've met with Will and HR, and I'm looking to promote one of my DDAs from a DDA 1 to a DDA 2. The employee is currently handling phenomenally, I might add, a full felony caseload, has the requisite qualifying experience. I'm really happy to say this person has really embraced being a part of our community, is now signed up to be a coach of one of our local high school teams, has come out on weekends and evenings on major case investigations, and I think is doing a phenomenal job. Has very much earned the promotion, and it is at the 6-month review. And so I would like, my formal request is if the commissioners would approve Will to sign off on the PA form for the promotion from a DDA 1 to a DDA 2.
Yeah,
Yes,
Sounds
we
good.
will do that.
Sounds good to me. Do we need a motion immediately today
Yeah,
or?
this is one of those areas where I think maybe my job description and written policy are a little bit at odds, so if you just do a motion
So
to
right now?
clarify, yeah.
Okay. Carrie, do you want to do the motion and also move because you know exactly how you want to word it?
My requested wording would be for a motion to allow Will authority to sign off on a personal action form promoting a Deputy District Attorney 1 to Deputy District Attorney 2.
Good job. So moved.
second.
Motion been made and second. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And
Thank
aye.
you all.
Thank you, Carrie.
Oh,
Big.
Focus on the crisis. Hold on.
Putting it up on the screen. Perfect, and I don't have to figure out how to make it bigger. Perfect.
2024, down the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, cover. And do it.
And I don't think we're gonna have an issue jumping from tabs. Just all in one sheet, so. I'm gonna hit the. Hold on there. I don't have anything in here. Okay, and this one?
Got it down and then I'll make it bigger. Let's see it. Okay, so, at Commissioner Herman's request, during mid-year, I brought back some stats. So these are the 2024 yearly comparable stats, compared to 2023. I didn't have time and I did make Sarah mad because I just got her the information on this yesterday and not by the deadline. So, that's what I'm here to, first thing, I do wanna, before I get started on that though, I did talk to Sean this morning after I witnessed the photographs, the old photographs from the museum and the juvenile department. They told me where they got them. I hit him up this morning, so.
Good for you, Bill. Good.
And then the other thing too, online, I did see some of our Citizens Academy applicants online. I'm excited to see them tonight. Tonight is the first night of the 2025 Citizens Academy, so we're going forward with that. So and the other thing too is I did change the format. Well, this is the old format that I was doing a year ago. In January stats, I did change the format a little bit. I think it might be a little easier to read. But in 2024, our assaults were down 44%, domestic violence was up 50%. In 2024, we took 105 domestic violence calls, through the year. And these are, so again, just, in case, all of these are reports written. These are not UCR crime reporting. These are reports written and time spent writing reports. So 105, domestic violence, harassments were down 31, strangulation was up 64%, menacing was up 111, 38 menacing cases in 2024 versus 18 and 23. Burglaries were up 6%, drug laws were up 36%, DUIs, up 69%, so 211 reports written in 2024. Injury traffic crashes, 61 versus 48, so up 27%. Non-injury crashes up 15%. Mental health holds, so POH police officer holds, they were down 2%. This year, the January stat from 25 is gonna be very telling. Sex crimes were down 6.5% in 24. Thefts were up 10%. Trespasses were down 26%. Unattended deaths were down 2%, so not as many people passed away unexpectedly. Stolen vehicles up 9% last year, and warrant arrests were up 11%. So overall, the totals, and these aren't all of them, these are just the reporting areas that I've kind of chosen, just kind of some of the higher profile ones, some property crimes and some other ones. But overall up 13% in 2024. So the arrest data is just sheriff's office arrests. Again, adult felony arrests were down 5%, misdemeanor arrests were up 13%. Juvenile felony arrests were down 60%. Juvenile misdemeanor arrests were down 50%. And then all other arrests are they're just miscellaneous, unclassified things, down 22%. But overall, with the number of those, it was up 4.5%. Jail bookings. Total bookings last year was 1,149 people booked into jail in 2024. It's down 13% from 2023. And then you can see male versus female who's booked. DUIs booked into the jail in 2024 is 212 DUIs. And that comes from Sheriff's Office, PD and OSP, which is down 25% from 2023. Assaults that were booked in, down 23%. Failed to register as a sex offender. In 2024, we had 17 failed registers, booked into the jail. We don't have the numbers from 2023, so, we will have those now moving forward. Jail use of force. So these ones are new that I didn't, share last year. But the jail use of force, there's 36 use of forces in the jail last year, so which was down 5%. Suicide attempts, this is a telling one. There's 4 suicide attempts, legitimate attempts inside of the jail last year versus 1 in 2023, which is the 75% increase in people taking a substantial step to attempt to kill themselves while incarcerated. Suicide watches, and these are just people that have suicidal ideations, was up 8% in 2024 with 26 of them through the year. So the total jail data is down 16%, which is good. That's what we want for the year of 2024. And calls for service. So we took 16,764 calls for service last year, as opposed to 13,000 or 14,000, almost 14,023, which is a 22% increase for calls for service in 2024 versus 23. Self-initiated calls for service. So these are your traffic stops, your business checks, your whatever, self-initiated calls for service. 8,088 calls for service. This is super telling to me, because if the board remembers, we got a bunch of additional FTEs the year before, which gave the guys time to do proactive police work. And so our self-initiated calls for service were up 63% in 24 as opposed to 2023. Cases taken, we took 1,309 criminal cases last year versus 1,335, so we were down 2% in 2024. So those are the yearly. Do you have any questions about those?
It just seems interesting to me that if you go up, the calls were up and so were the arrests, but the jailable or the jail was
The jail stats were down,
yeah, that's interesting.
So, January of 25 is gonna be a little bit different. So what I did, instead of taking the selected, categories that I had chosen, I just put them into person crimes, property crimes, and community crimes. And then instead of doing the selected ones, I took all of them that we're doing instead of just the selected ones, and then I just categorized them into 3 categories. I did keep sex crimes out, because those are some high priority, different ones. And then the mental health I kept out too because of just the substantial number. So person crimes in January of 25, we took 24 reports, versus 18. So we're up 25%. And the comp stats that I'm pulling is comparing January of 25 to January of 24. And on the very right side of the page, I have December of 24. So I'm comparing month to month, but then I'm also, for a true comparable stat, I'm doing January of 24 to January of 25. So the percentage increase is gonna be from January to January, but then in December of 24, there was one less person crime in January as opposed to December. So it is a little bit down, but the overall for the comparable stat is up 25%. Property crimes, we took 34 reports for property crimes, and so that versus 16 the year prior, so it's up 52% or 53 almost, but it was the exact same number that we had in December of 24. Community crimes, 105 cases last month for community livability crimes, as opposed to 76 the year before, so a 27%
So-
increase.
What is it? Give me an example of what a community crime is.
So what I put into that category is gonna be like the traffic crashes, the abandoned vehicles, dog at large, all of those community livability things. Drug law, I put in, so all the drug cases I put into the community, piece of it. Cause it's not a person crime, it's not a property crime, so whatever doesn't fit into like assault, strangulation, menacing, those would be person crimes, and then the property crimes would be your theft, your fraud, those types of things. And then everything else falls under the community piece of it. But the community crimes is up 27% from the year before. Down from December, so we had 143 reports in December of 24. Sex crimes, that's an astounding number. 18 reports on sex crimes last month, as opposed to 8 the year before. So 55% increase. And the mental health, I told you guys would be shocked by that number. 7, which doesn't seem like a lot, but versus 3 the year before, that's 133% increase in mental health related violations. And so the totals for the month, the comp stats for January is a 35% increase in the reports. And these are again are reports taken. And then arrests, again, the numbers are now going up. So 38% increase in adult felony arrests, a 29% increase in misdemeanor arrests. Juvenile arrests are down. Obviously, we had 0 felony juvenile arrests in January, 1 misdemeanor arrest in January, and then we had 0 all other arrests. But still, the total is a 23% increase in arrests, and this is just sheriff's office stats. This doesn't include the jail stats. These are just sheriff's. The rest that I just explained are just sheriff's office. Now, the jail stats, total bookings, we did 77 in January versus 80 in 24. So they're down 4%. But we're also down from December to 108 bookings in December. And then you can look at the male versus female. And then the DUI arrests, they stayed the same with 15 DUI bookings that were done in January. Assaults stayed the same at 9 assaults booked in. Failed to report a sex offender, 1 and 1. So those numbers didn't change. Jail use of force was up by 33%, so we had 3 use of forces in the jail last month. Suicide attempts was 0, which is a good number for us. I like that number. And then, but suicide watches, they were down a little bit, but we had 2 suicide watches in the jail. So overall, the jail stats are down 4% from January to January. Total calls for service, we took almost 1,500 calls for service last month. And we're down people, so, but the calls keep going up, a 28% increase in calls, and we're down folks. So, and then again, it's still up a little bit from December at 1,418 calls for service for the month of December. Self-initiated calls for service are up 96% increase. And I attribute that to, again, just the guys that we have working right now, and then they're just super busy guys. So 96% increase in self-initiated. We took 116 cases last month as opposed to 81 the year before, so our cases are up 30%.
You did a very good job, Bill. I like the way you put this up. Is there any way to get this so that the public can kind of, you know how you have the sheriff thing in Central Oregonian, it is, I went out to Paulina and got a warrant and it never, you know, this tells you the kind of the trends and stuff. Is there any way we can make this where it's more the public can see? Not, I'm not saying maybe every month, but at least orderly, or so people can get an idea of, like you say, you know, like domestic abuse, that's super up, and your thefts and things like that. Is there any way we can make this more public? I guess I know we're working on a Facebook for Crook County. I know you have Facebook.
We put our monthly stats
Do you put that
on
on?
Facebook. We do.
Okay, I
Yeah,
must have missed them then.
yes.
'Cause
So
this is really kind of tells the tale way more than,
it does, I think it does too. The sheriff did have a good idea in combining person's property and community crimes. I do like the format of the January one. Again, I just ran out of time and Sarah was yelling at me, so, I didn't get the yearly converted over. And then the other part of it too is like, when I convert those over, I'd have to hand mine a lot of that information, and it's just very time consuming. But I think going forward, the look is gonna be like January, is. And so, but yes, so we do put our stats out. I mean, we could do, I mean, I'm open to other suggestions if there's other ways that we can get it out. The Citizens Academy gets a lot of that information as well, you know, as you know.
yeah.
But I'm all for getting this stuff out. I think that it's important to show the trends and to show what we're doing. I did want to highlight one case too, just in the sense of time, right? So, you know, our cases are up 35%, you know, our arrests are up 23%, you know, yet the total jail bookings are down 4%. There's a time component to this, and yesterday morning, I started getting text messages at 6 o'clock in the morning. That one of my graveyard guys that was supposed to be off at 2 AM was still in the office, typing a report. And right about midnight, he took a case. There was a car crash, up on the highway, and he gets there and they hit a box van. The two guys in the box van are minor injuries, but still had injuries. The guy that caused the crash was doing 60 to 70 miles an hour on the icy roads, lost control, went off into the ditch. When the deputy got there, the guy just didn't look normal. He was very rigid. Eyes were dilated. It didn't react to light. Later found out the guy was under the influence of more likely than not cocaine that caused the crash. But and so then he went down to the jail, arrested him, went down to the jail, under the influence of cocaine on the breath test, you're gonna blow 0.00. At which he did, and then he had to take him to the hospital then and get blood drawn and do all the other things. But there's a time component to that. And this call came in at like 12:30 AM, and when I got to the office at 8 AM, he was still there typing, trying to get everything, you know, prepared for the DA, and then by 9 AM, we have to have everything in the district attorney's office, so they have time to file the information so they can actually charge the guy. There was no way that was gonna happen, so, we actually did a verbal. I sent him home because he'd worked 16 hours, without stopping, and so I sent him home and had him come back last night and finish typing his report. So, that was the case that I was thinking of, this morning, just because, our numbers are up and consistently going up, generally, but then adding the time component to that. I mean, the kid worked, I say kid, the deputy worked, you know, over 8 hours on just that one little old traffic crash. I mean, you know, it's just a traffic crash. Well, it's a traffic crash that turned into something else, that turned into something else. And there is a time component to all of these as well, so.
Yeah, if you were in that traffic crash, it was a big deal, you know, and hopefully you got that guy off the road.
We did get him off the road, so. Stephanie and Sheriff were on. You guys like to add anything?
You did such a good job, Bill, that
Silent.
they can't even mention anything.
Speechless.
Problem is, I can't get this thing to go off and mute for some reason, so,
Oh, John.
and I
Okay.
can't talk very well either, so I try Bill is doing that, so. Anyway, no, I don't have anything else to add. Well, it's, Bill is right, though, that you never know how much time you're gonna put into a case once you start on it, and it's not just a simple go out and handle a call, come back and go do another one. It doesn't work that way, so. But the stats you can see there, that kind of gives you a trend of what's going on in our community. And as you look forward, as you go forward with this, it gives you an idea where to concentrate your efforts. So that's why Bill is doing these ComStat reports.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
thank you very, very much, Bill. This is a great.
Managers report.
Thank you, Commissioner Barney. I have a few things to update the board on this morning. First up, a quick department update. You might recall earlier in January during some of the goal setting meetings, there was a meeting with Eric Lane, County Council. Through that conversation, there was conversation about the dog nuisance cases. Eric has or will be retaining outside counsel to take on those dog nuisance cases. Eric, remind me how many cases you have right now?
So we have, I think, 17 or 18 that are open. One of them was yesterday, but it got canceled by the circuit court, so the number keeps going up.
So not only is this kind of consistent with the conversation we had earlier this year, but in light of the transition going on in County Counsel's office right now, I think it's really important that we take that workload off Eric's shoulders. So he's hired Shannon McCabe from Lynch Murphy McLean to assist with those cases. So I hope that'll be helpful to County Counsel's office. I wanted to make a quick note and thank you to James and his team in facilities for getting the heat up and running in the finance and assessor's office just in the nick of time for this.
Hey,
For the-
I was gonna say, what happened over here now? Did you take it all across the street?
Sorry, you bought it.
You know, Christina, could you just like span a little over here?
But yeah, just in time for this cold front. I understand Wesley was here late Friday, getting that done, so appreciate that. I handed out at the beginning of the meeting a copy of an audit representation letter. I'll ask Sarah to include that under my manager's report in the packet. This is just a annual letter that the county needs to sign. It's just a representation from the county that certain things are accurate regarding our financial statements for fiscal year 2024. I don't have much more to say on that at this point. It's just an annual standard
And
letter we need to provide, and
You sign this,
Yeah.
we don't have
No.
to, so I see your signature, so we're good.
yeah, Christina and I have signed it, so we can move forward with getting that information to the auditor. But if you have any questions, please let me know. Also just wanted to do a quick update on the budget. So department heads are currently working on workforce plans and 5-year plans. Those drafts are due into this week. Next up, departments requested budgets are due later this month, February 25th. So we're moving forward in our tracking with our budget calendar as far as the budget process goes. On the legislative front, I wanted to make a quick note about House Bill 2395. Katie Plum reached out to me about this. This is a bill that requires the Department of Veterans Affairs to distribute monies for county veteran service officers to counties that have a population of less than 30,000 and are or will be unable to maintain operations of county veterans service officers due to budget decreases. This is a bill that Katie and I think we should support, given that we're a county of less than 30,000 people. And the Oregon Department of Veterans Affairs has suggested that somebody from the county reach out to Vicky regarding this legislation. So I don't know if there's interest in a letter or if somebody's willing to make a phone call, but I just wanted to put a bug in the board's ear about this legislation. So
Let's just go with the letter, so it's all long to have it.
I think so.
I'll work with.
She contacted me yesterday, so we're supposed to get together, but I think a letter is definitely the way to go, so we need a motion on
Yeah,
that.
I can
We're
work.
good.
I can work with Katie on getting
Okay.
a letter and we'll bring that back for the board. That's all I have for this morning. Thank you.
Well, I have two letters that I would like us to go sign. One of them is for Senate Bill 777, which is basically addressing the concerns for compensation for livestock and working dogs impacted by wolf deprivation. And this is basically the funding of this, which again, we support it. Eastern Oregon counties support it. So if we can get a signature, so I guess can I make a motion on this right now then? Okay, I want to make a motion that we sign the support for Senate Bill 777 concerning funding for wolf deprivation.
Second.
Motion been made second to fund, Senate Bill 777. Any discussion?
I plan on, speaking at the deal tomorrow.
Perfect.
It's at 1. All right, I'm not on the list yet, but I should be able to get there this afternoon.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and then this other one is, there is a Senate Bill 747. I think we're a little bit early, but it is about fertilizer. And if you have over 200 acres, what it is concerning nitrates in the water system. And this would be a severe burden to farmers and another knife in agriculture. So I recommend a motion to sign this letter for objection for Senate Bill 747.
You move that?
Well, I made a motion. I think I said that, but maybe I didn't. I'm frozen over here. I gotta get a code. Maybe I forgot part of the word.
I think I heard the word, I make a motion.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Because I have gotta go get my code. I've got.
So we have a motion to approve Senate Bill 747. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And again, really, if there are any department heads and there are any bills that are coming up, like Katie bringing that to our attention, that's wonderful. Because there are so many bills right now, it's like, I think I have a thing on my desk that's very thick. Bring it to our attention because we need, as Crook County, to get this out there and to get our advocacy out there. So it may be a bill that I don't think important, but it's very important for your department, so let us know. We need to support it or object to it, whatever works for you. So I really encourage all department heads to do that.
Yeah, had a really good trip to Salem, met with the governor, talked about a lot of different things, including the groundwater, north of town. We talked about, the wolves. I actually handed her one of those, little deprivation things, showing her what it looks like with different predators and which one, when they're attacked. And that was something she hadn't seen before, so she appreciated a different point of view. We were able to talk about the district attorneys, how we need more funding for those offices, the PLA, the new rules with the ODOT, trying to think of any other, brought up nuclear. She actually said that that's something that she will not push back on. And so it's more for the legislature and we have to find ways to get it through there. But she said that's something that she's not against as long as it's done right. And I thought that was a pretty good step. I'm sure there's a couple other ones. At AOC, we did push forward the bill to allow local counties to decide if they want to hunt bears and cougars with dogs. And so I think that was a pretty big win for the organization. And is the first time it's gotten a hearing in the 24 years, 25 years since it was enacted. The other rule was enacted, so kind of seems like that might be a really good step in the right direction.
Do we maybe need a letter for that?
I
from
think
Crook
it
County?
would be worthwhile.
So if you get that, and then like I say, Sarah, I want to also compliment Sarah on her crafting of support or objection letters. She does a wonderful job, so if you get that to her.
Okay.
Then we can bring that, and I think we need to just start doing that way more.
Yeah.
And like I say, we need awareness, like Carrie, we need, she's there, Carrie, you need for like the district attorneys, I know they talked about that on AOC. About that, remember the funding for discovery and that we need to get some vote and we need to start being more stronger activists.
Well, we
or
need more-
lobbyists, I guess lobbyists is the term.
Well, we need more state funding for DA's offices. The fact that
Exactly.
they're only paying for a portion of the DA's salary, not all those other members of the office, I think that's kind of criminal.
Yeah, and like I say, Carrie, we need your help with that, and then to also, you go up there and you can have a statement from us,
Mhm.
and it's from the three of us.
Mhm.
You're not just, you're sitting there because you're the legislative guy.
Yeah.
But it's from our county.
Sure.
And I think that would be very powerful too, because then that gives you more of that strength, in my opinion, so. We need to just, we'll get there. Like I say, and we have Sarah that's a wonderful letter writer for us, so we are very fortunate. I wanna make sure that everyone knows that. So anyway.
Okay, any other business? Any comments? Okay, this concludes first portion. We'll go into executive session.
We don't need, yeah, I don't need to insult you, Brian, but I do.
The Crook County Board of Commissioners will now meet in executive session under OR.
You need to stay here, so I'll call you.
We wanna make sure we can get out.
Okay,
so books that we're reading
Okay,
into
perfect.
executive.
Thank you.
You guys first, let me go.
You can start again, just be loud.
I was just gonna, I wrote myself a note. Are you
The
good?
Crook County Board of Commissioners will now meet in executive session under ORS 192.6602D to conduct deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to carry on labor negotiations, and ORS 192.6602H, consulting with counsel concerning the legal rights and duties of a public body with regard to current litigation or litigation likely to be filed. Representatives of the news media and designated staff shall be allowed to attend the executive session except for ORS 192.6602D. All other members of the audience are asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on any of the deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decision may be made in executive session. At the end of executive sessions, we will return to open session and welcome the audience back into the room.
Oh my lord.
You do.
Might leave a cut under the chair.
You want my blue pen?
All right, whenever you're ready, you're back on,
No.
We gotta find my papers.
right here, bottom one.
The Crook County Board of Commissioners will now leave executive session under ORS 192.6602D to conduct deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to carry on labor negotiations, or ORS 192.6602H, consulting with counsel concerning the legal rights and duties of a public body with regard to current litigation or litigation likely to be filed. Representatives of the news media and designated staff were allowed to attend the executive session except for ORS 192.6602D. All other members of the audience were asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media were specifically directed not to report on any of the deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject for sessions as previously announced. No decision was made in executive session. We will return to open session and welcome the audience back into the room.
You do the first one?
I'm very quickly writing down a sample motion.
You
go first.
I'll go first with on the 2H matter. First, I recommend a motion for staff to proceed as directed in executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Those have been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 On the second 2H, or on the 2H, the second motion would be a motion to authorize County Manager Will Van Vactor to execute any necessary documents to effectuate what was discussed in executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 And regarding 2D, motion to delegate authority to county council as discussed in the executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Those have been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 So from our little meeting that on our eyes are supposed to say our names, so
Oh, that
we
is
need to
right,
start
Yeah,
doing that.
you have that on the bottom, and I thought, I saw that, and I was thinking to myself, I need to say Hermer guy, and you're right, Brian. The other thing, and this is not executive or anything, but Powell Butte once again asked that we could have a, Board of Commissioners meeting out in Powell Butte because they feel left out, so. That's something that you might want to look into. They suggested an evening meeting, which I know will be difficult for department heads, but maybe we need to make that outreach.
I think it'd be great if we could find a way to do that both in Powellview at some point and in Paulina again, like the board. I remember going out there with when I was in either working with Eric or early on as community development director. I think it's a neat way to get out, but we do have to kind of factor in some practical.
I would also add Juniper Canyon to that as well. We could do one at the fire hall.
Yeah, I was gonna
If we're
say
gonna
that.
do those, I think those are the three major areas.
I was gonna say that on my commissioner's report and I forgot, but again, this isn't anything secretive, it's just a suggestion.
Sarah and I can look at calendars, and I mean, one of the tricky parts is figuring out the technology component of it, but we can put our heads together on potential dates and look into that.
Yeah.
I know, how you suggested March and April were good months for them. I thought that was kind of cute, but anyway, I'm not saying you have to follow that guideline, but I thought that was sort of cute how they even came up with dates for me, but anyway.
Okay, so any other business? No. Okay, adjourn.
Porter Penner.
Yeah.